Hi, it's me Asal again, my husband David. So today we would like to share what we actually did with our son, which helped him tremendously in this journey. So when our son got diagnosed when he was 3 years old, we didn't know what to do, where to start. And I think to me personally, was the hardest part is like drastic change. And you get so overwhelmed because there are tons of information out there and you just don't know what to do. You know, the first thing I would advise you, just to relax. I know it's hard. It's extremely hard because we've been in your shoes, and I know it's very, very difficult to do, but this is the right things to do. Just to relax. Your kid is the same kid. It's just you know who he is now, right? He's autistic, and that's okay. I mean, believe me, you will have the day where you're gonna be like super, super, super happy, and you're gonna be sad as well. But that's also with the typical kids, because now we have a typical daughter, and I'm telling you, it's not easy as well. So what we did with our son, so we went through the evaluation, which just lasted like for 6 hours, 3 hours the first day, and like maybe like 1 week later, there was another 3 hours of evaluation, and we got the diagnosis. Okay, what's next? What are we gonna do, right? So they advise us to go through like ABA therapy, which is I think very, very common. But now, when I have more knowledge about the early interventions that I can do with my son, still, even now, when he's going to be even 6 years, right? There are tons of therapies out there, evidence-based, that you can start right away. You don't have to wait for therapy, ABA, and believe me, they're not going to come and do magic. They will guide you right. They will guide you what to do, how to do the thing. And I'm telling you, the hardest part for me personally was actually not to get a diagnosis to my son, because I knew that he's different, right? But I just knew the name for that. It was autism. It was just like quick example. For example, you like the person who always had the iPhone, right? For example, me, since I was 25, and someone would hand me like right away, like Samsung. That would be so overwhelming because I don't know what to do. Everything is so different. That's the case with autism. Like when you're gonna compare typical kids with atypical, means autistic kids, it's the same thing. You don't know how to upload the video. You don't know how to upload those apps, how to like manage, how to do the thing. It gets like so overwhelming. But little by little, you will learn that, and that will help you. And believe me, the best therapist to your kids, it will be you. You will be the best therapist because you are there for your kids for 24/7.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that one thing that Asal said, which I think is vital, is the ABA therapists are not going to be able to work magic. They're not going to be able to take away the autism from your child. In many respects, I kind of view ABA as like high-end babysitting because, and perhaps that's wrong, I know that many other people have a much higher they hold it in much higher esteem. But I think that ABA does serve a purpose and that it adds discipline and structure. And additionally, the therapist will also be able to educate you on milestones and things to expect. But I don't necessarily believe that ABA has been a game changer for our son. I think that other things like dietary interventions, nutrition, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, biofeedback, things like that, and actually having some type of neurological interventions, in my opinion, can yield better results. So I definitely think that most people, they'll start with ABA, and the reason for that is because ABA is typically covered under your insurance. So getting ABA is important. For me, I think I interviewed like 7 or 8 different companies, and I just basically went with the one that I felt most comfortable with. And that proved to be a wise decision because we've been with the same company for for about 3 years now, 2.5 years or so, and they've been amazing. And we've had only good therapists from them. And we've had very, very close relationships with almost all the therapists as well. So I definitely think that ABA is worthwhile.
Yeah, I do agree with my husband in most of the cases, but also, of course, it's still a behavioral intervention, right? So my husband, he might not know like all details, but I do know about like regarding even ABA, right? It does have like two approaches. One is a DTT, which I'm not like a big fan of it, to be honest, because
that's
like,
the table.
that's the table.
They drill you at the table.
It's like, yeah. But I don't want to like. We had amazing therapists. Like, look at the if the therapists they actually like follow the new research. That's an amazing sign, because it means that they're gonna do intervention like which fits to your kids. For example, for my kids, NET approach, which is like naturalistic environmental therapy, it worked amazing, amazing. And then I start doing my own research. What's other therapies are there? Because they come, they do therapy, and they go, right? And I'm again alone with my kid. And then I found out that there are so many other therapies. It's like a floor time, right? Playtime therapy, ESDM, which is like early start Denver model, PRT, pivotal response treatment, which I actually got a certification from Stanford recently, level 1 of pivotal, that I was introduced with this therapy, and that was very, very good. And I'm still doing that intervention with my son, and it worked as good, even if it's not better, because, as I said, the best therapist is the parents.
I also think it's very important to find a good speech therapist. We've gone through about 4 or 5 speech therapists, and the one that we currently have is amazing. She's great. She comes to our house. She charges us about $150 for 1 hour. And I like her because not only is it convenient because she comes to the house, so it saves time on like traveling, it's more efficient, but it's more of a natural environment. And our son Mark actually enjoys when she comes because she engages in like playtime and more natural activities. Like they'll go jump on the trampoline, they'll play games together, and we've definitely noticed a pretty large increase in Mark's verbal communication abilities due to the speech, and he only gets speech like once a week from her.
And he gets benefits from that. Like, can you imagine if it will be even more? But this is something that we're doing, and we did a lot of things, and something worked very good, like right away, something that takes some time, but still, like, the more you go, the more you'll see, you will learn a lot, and that's valid, because we cannot like change or get like our certification or like diploma in 1 day, right? But those therapists, they have a lot of knowledge, and they will just guide you. But it's up to you to learn and go further and just do like those therapies as efficient as possible.
I think everyone's goal is to give our child the highest probability and the best chance of living a fulfilling life. And by combining a lot of the therapies, and I think that that's the primary and best takeaway from this video, is that it's oftentimes best to combine therapies and to combine modalities. Then, in my opinion, that's going to yield the highest result and the highest probability of your child being independent and living a fulfilling and happy life.
Yeah, I agree with David, and I would just want to add one thing. If you're seeking one pill that's going to treat your autism, autism in your kid, or maybe your autism, right? Because there are like more adult autistic adults who are like recently actually figure out, oh, I'm actually autistic. I thought like I'm just this weirdo walking around there, but no, I'm autistic. And no, that's not the case. There is no pill that can cure your autism, and autism is forever. This is just another operational system. You just need to learn how to operate this system and how to teach your kid, be independent, teach him academic skill and all other skills, just in a little bit different way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I used to think that, and I used to pray that my son Mark would go to sleep one day and then the next day he would wake up and he would be typical and he would no longer be autistic. And after praying and trying that like 300 straight days, I realized that that he's going to be autistic. And yes, he's on the higher functioning spectrum, so therefore as he gets older it's possible that he'll mask his symptoms, and if he wants to get diagnosed, it's possible that the person diagnosing him might say that he's not autistic. But I think that autism and the way that he's going to be a little bit different forever. But one really important point, just because you're autistic and you're atypical doesn't mean that you're less than. My son can do things that I can't do, and I graduated from an Ivy League university and used to work in investment banking. My son can do things like he can say the alphabet backwards, and not because he memorized it, but because he has a photographic memory. I also think that my son has perfect pitch. He's able to like play things on the piano or keyboard and then hit that note without any problem, without any difficulties. So there are many things, and he also taught himself how to read before he was 2 years old. He knew all the letters at 1.5, etc. And we're going to get into that and about hyperlexia in future videos.
Yes.
But I think that the primary takeaway from this video is that it's very important to combine many modalities, whether it's ABA, floor time, speech, some other interventions, which we'll get into, OT,
it's
etc.
very important, occupational therapy. And sensory integration, that's something that you can do at home. It doesn't have to be a long therapy, no. You can do just like 15 minutes, right, a day, 10 minutes. We all can find this 10 or 15 minutes, you know. Yeah.
And I also think it's very important to accept autism and to accept your child and not to think of him as less than, and also have respect for your child's special abilities, because there are probably many things that your child can do that typical children cannot do.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so that's it. We appreciate your attention. Please subscribe to this channel, and we're going to come out with a lot more ASD videos in the near future.